Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm Danielle Daggert here with Art Center Sarasota, and we're doing a studio visit tonight with Victoria Mayol. Thank you so much, Vicky, for being on here with me.
Hi, thank you. Hi, Danielle. How are
Hi,
you?
I'm good. So Vicky and I know each other from a couple of years now. We were teaching together at a studio in Sarasota, and I've always loved your work, Vicky. It's so expressive and beautiful, and it's really kind of like eye candy. I think it's just really enjoyable to look
Thank
at your
you.
work. You're welcome.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
yeah, so you're sitting in your studio right now, and you just moved kind of across the state from us, right? And tell me what just the studio environment is like right now.
Well, I kind of in a temporary studio right now. We were living in Sarasota and now we are moving to Verovit, but well, due to the pandemic, all my classes were kind of postponed for now. My kids school too. So my husband managed a ranch here, like a farm here. So we figured we could be closer to him. So we moved here right now in the middle of a 40,000 acre farm. So in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we're living here with my family. Yeah. And my only condition was to have my studio settled, and here I am. But by the end of the year, maybe October, September, October, maybe more, but yeah, we will be moving to Berovit. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So you just moved, but let's talk about kind of where you started with your artwork. Why did you choose art, and kind of when did you decide to become an artist?
Well, actually, when I was 6 year old, it's not then when I started, but I remember in school was like an art jury about Cinderella, and I was very excited, and I remember drawing it perfect from the book, like doing it, erasing it, doing it perfect, like I don't know, like an adult, very kind of erase it, but at the end was perfect. Was like so excited, and after, well, the jury didn't select my work, and the one who won was like to me was like a 3-year-old Scrabble, like very colorful and very expressive, and I was totally disappointed. And like wasn't when I was little, my I remember trying to do stuff perfect. I was like the perfect girl,
Mm-hmm.
doing good in school, and that kind of perfect part didn't allow a lot of my art to come to appear. So it took me a lot of years to realize that that rejection was kind of important,
Mm-hmm.
because what the jury was looking for was a soul and not perfection. And it was after, like, during teenager that I kind of came back into drawing and painting, and I started doing it more often, but I kind of connect from another place. Teenager was kind of a chaotic part of me.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little more disaster at school, not bad, but my room was a mess, and all that chaos allowed me to connect with the art in a different way than when I was trying to do perfect. But that kind of touched me in a way that after that, my pursuing was always into the soul of the painting and not into doing a perfect piece. Uh, it was kind of something that marked me. But well, when I was 15, I started drawing and drawing and painting in school, in class. I was kind of portraying my classmates, my teachers. So I realized I was doing it all the time, and I started buying my first acrylics, my first oils, and my mom suggests, why don't you start selling all that stuff that you are having in your room, have no space. She actually built a kind of studio in a part of the house for me. And then I started putting my paintings on restaurants, and actually I started selling them. I was kind of 16, So it kind of get excited. It's like, why? I can make money with this. Like even people buy it. So for me, that was kind of a start. After that, I started studying and then college and all the rest. That yeah,
And
the that part was
and where were you when you started this? Because you come from Buenos Aires, right?
yeah. I'm from Argentina, Buenos Aires. So I was in Buenos Aires in living with my mom actually. And yeah, we were not in a great economical situation. Was not the worst, but my country, you know, is very up and down. We were in a down. Was like 2011 crisis. Well, one of many.
Yeah.
But anyway, the thing is, yeah, I remember that I start kind of selling my art to be able to buy my supplies, to be able to pay to workshops, and kind of from very little start feeling that this could be a living. And then art work can be tough after, but that was like a first very nice start to me. Like once I finished my school, I was completely sure I was going to study art. It was not like something I was thinking about. I was already selling, I was already kind of studying, doing workshops, and a lot of studying by myself, buying my first oils. And there was no, like, you know, YouTube channel then to learn a
Mm-hmm.
technique. So it was more challenging to learn something. You kind of, you know, try, do it wrong, doing fine, and buy books. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
really admire your transition from when you came into the US. But before we get to that, I'd love to just show a couple examples of your work because I'm sure you have a couple of small pieces. Maybe you could just lift up or turn the camera around and just to give everyone a sense of what you create.
yeah, yeah. Well, I can show you. Let me turn the phone. I can show you here. I have a few pieces of. Should I turn it? No, like that.
That's good, yeah.
A
And
few
just go
pieces
slow. Just
of
go slow,
my
Vicky.
first. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is from my first drawings when I was kind of finishing school. I wasn't in college yet, and these were like very spontaneous works. This was oil with palette knife. It was a little more aggressive. Let me see if I. Well, was a very big painting full of. The picture is not very good, but so these were kind of my first paintings after my, you know, copying moment. I
Mm-hmm.
learned kind of copying, but these were part of my, well, I have a whole portfolio here of this time when I was doing portraits of friends, very colorful with a bright palette.
And
I'm not sure if you
what
want me to
scale?
show you some of actual. These were kind of well, I have it in centimeters in this book, but these were kind of you know, 30 by 40
Okay.
maybe. I was painting very big then. I was not afraid of painting, and I was doing kind of even like 60, you know, more than 60 than 40. I'm not sure, like 60 by 80 even. It was like the whole wall. So
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of painting big. I was fearless then. Then I start, you know, saying, okay, how I move this, how I shape it. Let me show you. This is another portfolio from after the figure, after college. Well, when I was finishing college, I went into the suburbs to live in a farm too because of my husband work. And figure disappear, and all these abstract natures came on the work.
Nice.
So mixed media. And then once in the US, this is from here. I think this was in the center. This has mixed media, so I'm showing a little bit of the embroidery and pencil and
Mm-hmm.
gold there. And this is from here. but then I missed my figures, and in the US it kind of had been a challenge of combining my mixed media, my abstract natures, and my figures all together, and trying to do, I don't know, my style,
Yeah.
whatever that is. I can kind. Should I show you more, or
Well, let's talk a little bit
should I?
too. So why don't you sit back down and we
Yeah.
can chat? I think that was a great sampling of your work, and I love that you started with kind of where you started with the figures, because I think when we talk about the kind of fluid moment, both in composition and the way that you apply your paint and your mixed materials, it's really interesting to see that kind of mark of the artist, the hand of the artist, and that kind of ties back into your idea of finding the soul of the work, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I enjoy a lot mixed media, and I think it helps because it's not about, when people sometimes want me to teach a workshop, and I feel it's not about teaching just a technique. It's just using the technique to be able to achieve whatever you want to say. So having all the elements in the studio ready for, I'm may starting a background in fluid acrylic, and then I feel I need some texture and going and adding collage, or it's like bringing the elements when the painting asks for it, and not just having a formula of how to do the mixed media. It's just knowing all the techniques they separate and then combining all the time different in a different way. Yeah, it's not just, I keep changing. It's not like always first the fluid acrylic and then the collage and then the pastel, but sometimes it's all the way around. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's very fun, and it keeps me very kind of busy, and I'm very anxious. I speak fast and I do stuff fast. So I kind of get bored if I'm doing just one work for a month. I think it ever happened. So I need to have like many things going on in the same time, and be able to, depending on the mood and whatever, it's like, okay, I'm feeling I want to add this to this painting, and that's why I'm adding it, not just because I need to finish the painting. So that's why I sometimes have paintings unfinished forever until a show needs the painting or something is okay, let's finish it. But yeah,
Yeah, no, yeah, that was one of my questions for you,
so
was whether you work on a single piece or a series at a time, but maybe not even a series, just multiple projects then, right? And they kind of fall into each other.
well, yeah, actually, look, this is just I probably skipping questions and making you a mess. I'm not sure, but this is what I was working these last days, or just backgrounds. But I usually work like 6, 5, 8. I don't know, many at the time. This is a first wash, but all together in one day, I kind of throw the colors there, and then maybe and a second day I start another layer. But yeah, my series are serious because I kind of work them all together. Then you use the same colors, and it's like a question, a painting. um I don't know, you need to solve something in one painting, but then you decide to solve it in the next one. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a conversation between the pieces. It's very fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see
So
that in your work too. It definitely reads that way. So it's personally, I know that you have two small children. So does that working kind of layer by layer in multi materials allow you, like, what's studio time like? Do you get like blocks of time where you've got 4 hours? Do you just have 10 minutes here and there? Because I feel like that mixed material and playing with all of them together can kind of help with that.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I used to be an workaholic in a way, kind of like I loved what I do and I wanted to do it all the time. When I was, you know, I say single, but it's not single. Like when I had no kids, I was like, I don't know, waking up earlier, getting into the studio, and if I was very inspired, I kind of be there. I could be able to be there all day long, maybe skip lunch and skip tea. I didn't care. I was kind of into the work, thinking about the work, and when I was not cooking, I was taking pictures, and having kids totally slowed down a lot. But in some things it's good. As you say, right now I have the studio next to the kitchen, so it's fun because every time I'm in the kitchen and then I don't know, I prepare dinner, I'm kind of looking and I say, oh, I may put a stroke there, and I just go and get the stroke and go and get the brush and do the stroke and then come back and finish dinner. And when I have 2 hours, I just jump into the studio and do a little bit, but in the meanwhile I'm thinking, I'm processing, and that's also a nice slow down in a way, because I was too impulsive and too anxious, and sometimes, many times, I overdo my own work. I overdo it, and sometimes, you probably know, you are an artist, and
Yeah.
sometimes you overdo, and then it's gone. The soul was under 3 layers.
Right.
So that allows me to slow down in a good way. Yeah. I always have with me little sketchbooks, and really I can sit down with the kids. I'm teaching them letters, anything, and I have the books and I draw, and all my ideas flow there, so they don't disappear. One I can show you.
Sure. Yeah, and as you show me, let's transition just a little bit to what.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah. What was it like moving to the U.S., Vicky? And so you moved to the U.S. You moved to Colorado, I think, first. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And then you had the children, but
No,
yet.
Little Rock.
Oh, Little Rock, Little Rock. Okay. But then you had the children and you've kind of established yourself as an artist in all of these cities. Before you left Sarasota, you were represented, and you were represented out at Little Rock too, right? So I think for people watching this video, it'd be really great to kind of hear. I mean, you say you're a workaholic, but, what was that like? Coming to a new country, looking at a new art world, even though it's kind of similar, but a new place, new environment, and then each one after that still being able to get your foot in the door and start getting your work out there. What was that like?
Well, it had been wonderful, but also very challenging, and we were not looking for this change. Actually, we just got married, we just got our first house, we put our furniture. We thought it was going to be for many, many years, and then suddenly this opportunity knocked the door, and we took it, and we said, okay, it's just 1 year, and then we like it, and then we were living in Little Rock, and then Florida appears, and we said, okay, let's try it. So what we thought it was going to be just 1 year experience of something start kind of turning more permanent, at least for now. So Luisa right now is 5. She was born in Little Rock. Simon is 2.5, and he was born in here in Sarasota. So yeah, and it has been challenging, but it has been I don't know, one step at a time, and then when you don't realize, you kind of achieve something. I always try to have little books with what little project I have this year, and at the end of the year I look back and I don't know how, but it's done, and that's great. It's just trying to do the best I can do, trying to be good person over everything, and then put love in the work and be good with people. That's what brings you anywhere. If you are good with the people, then all the opportunities I had was because I knew someone, and that people was so nice, and he connect me with someone. So yeah, in Little Rock I was represented by 2 galleries. The 2 good galleries that were around, I was there. And then in that year I was represented in in a nice gallery actually owned by Argentinians that was Praxis in New York, but in Chelsea, but that just was for 1 year. The exclusivity they asked was too big, and it was impossible for me to. They were asking me even to not selling wherever I was living. So, okay, after that, yeah. Then I settled in Sarasota, and it was good. One of the persons who bought the person who bought one of my paintings, she was very nice, and she was neighbored with one of Ringling College directives. So they comment there, they were looking for an instructor, and that person suggests, oh, look into this artist coming to my living room, look at her painting. And then they called me, and it was like, that's how more or less stuff happens. And I have achieved a lot to me with 2 little kids. I'm kind of happy, but I have a lot more to do, of course, a lot. I feel overwhelmed when I feel all the projects I would like to do. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so let's talk a little bit more about your work. Okay, so you're coming kind of when you and I have talked about your work, I feel like it's heavily influenced by the new kind of environments that you're in, whether it's urban or or environmental. So being in the farm, I'm sure something is going to influence your work there. But let's talk about it kind of historically too, or are there any influences that you have in your work that you look at, even contemporary actually, because I feel like there's a little bit of fashion in some of your work as well too.
Yeah, I actually kind of have a lot of sticky on my wall behind me. I like to stick it there, to, I don't know, keep it fresh. The source of my inspiration. From the old, more traditional painters, I always loved very much Matisse, his connection with the print and the stamp. I don't know, all his work, the colors, everything I loved from him. And I love a series from from Andy Warhol, that is about collage and line. I'm not sure if I can show a little bit to show the example of what I'm talking, but I don't know, it's necessary. Well, it's just the way he built this block of color and the line is very interesting. So I have a lot of source of inspiration from him, but all my nature abstract work is more looking into Asian art, more into my figure is in Occidental work, in expressionist, in figure, in a lot of color, saying a lot maybe, and then the nature is more related with Japanese art, their understanding of cycles of positive and negative space. They feel empty as a positive place where you can put things. I'm not sure how is this the whole how to explain in English. I don't wanna, but the Japanese space, the Japanese how to say composition, all that is on my abstract natures, and then I enjoy very much Cecily Brown, her expressionist stroke.
Okay.
So I kind of, I don't know, I may have a lot of influence, but I kind of like I like something and I say, okay, I love this stroke, I like this color, I like this composition, and there's some of graphic design and in some of my neat lines. I didn't show that either in my book, but I have some series where the lines are very neat and kind of a pattern, and I used a lot of alcohol markers in a few series, and that's a lot from graphic design and even fashion too. So yeah, I feel my work as a big collage of things I like, and at the end put them together. Yeah.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's
I don't know. I mix a little bit.
I think that's a great source. I mean, because that's really is truly your voice, and you are able to bring it together, even though you have kind of two bodies of work between the figurative pieces and the abstract kind of nature scenes. The expression and the color and the way that you layer, even before you get to the mixed media element, just the way you lay your paint down, I think is very, very you. I use it as kind of an example sometimes when I talk about expressive work for people who know what you create. Okay, let's move on to kind of any works in progress that you want to show and talk about maybe where your work is going, if there's anything that's different happening. Do you want to show those sketches too? I think those are a good example.
Yeah, I can show some sketches because I have, as I told you, a lot of work in process. But then I'm not sure what to. Well, these are some of my sketches. This is my daughter sleeping.
Aww.
These are the little lines I was talking about more. And I usually write something that sometimes at the end is the title of the painting or.
Yeah, these are incredible compositions already, right?
Well, and in a way, I kind of, well, this is more about writing. Let's see, I have some here, but I sometimes even add a little bit of color. It says locked in horizontal, and I probably it's about being locked in a farm. I'm just I kind of usually add little yeah.
And do you think you do kind of one of these a day or multiple a day?
Well, I usually work multiple a day and then I forget for a few days about it and then I come back. This was more about pandemic and feeling like, those blue days where you, I don't know, everything is in this book. And then, I kind of, well, this is an old painting actually, but I can show you a little bit of the mixed media. These are paper stuck there in the face.
Nice. Yeah.
And the pastel. And then you have the gold leaf. And, well, I put a deer. There's a lot. These are the ones I showed you before. And these are going to have a little of the collage. And then this one has a little of pastel. But and probably I'm gonna put some of those figures on top. This one is a little more finished, has a little drawing on top of the, and lately I'm not doing much of the nadir. I'm doing more this style. This is from before too. This one is my brother reading on the forest.
I love it. Yeah. He's just hanging out with the birds. Toucans, yeah.
Yeah. And let me show you what I was going to show you. I forget. Oh, and this is one of the natures I've been working lately, but I have been more into the figure. So this is in paper and has collage. So this is all stick there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. I mean, you bring in so many elements, but they really work well together, and so many colors too. Yeah.
To show you, these are the pastels I use, and fluid acrylics, well, the alcohol markers. Then I have a monochrome markers, and liners. And
this is like the ideal studio. It's so clean. My studio is not this well organized.
It's, well, it's not when I'm really working, this here I have the fabrics I stick on
Mm-hmm.
and here I have like the papers, I paint them myself. These are usually Japanese paper or tracing papers, and I kind of paint them and then I for the collage. So
Very
more or
cool.
less that's, let me turn around. Okay.
Good. So,
Okay.
so Vicky, and so as you create, does your work? I mean, so you showed us what you started with in school, right? And how you're branching off, past that. But you used to work a little larger maybe than you do now. You work in these kind of series that I'm sure work better for galleries and sales too. Do you see your work changing dramatically in the future at any time? Do you want to work, mural sized again? Do you want to do smaller pieces? Do you prefer the paper or the canvas? What do you see for yourself?
I feel I had been searching a lot, and this is what I'm showing you here is kind of curated already.
Mm-hmm.
But I had been totally over a lot of techniques and a lot of styles. I had been really exploring into abstract. I had been really neat. I had been really like doing this crowded of urban peoples, a whole 2 years area of people in trains and in cities. And I kind of feel right now what I wanted is not what I will do, but what I wanted is to not changing, trying not to change so dramatically,
Mm-hmm.
trying to my search to be a little smooth. But you never know. Tomorrow I can wake up and I don't know, have a great idea if I want to do something different. But I feel I'm very classic into doing canvas, into doing painting. I'm not very, how do you say? Today you have so many more contemporary options. I'm very into having the brush and painting, and I definitely love figures. So I feel I go back and forward between my styles, and yeah, sometimes I'm more oil, sometimes I'm more watercolor, sometimes I'm more collage, and sometimes I'm more into the line and sometimes into the stroke. But between all that, I'm moving, back and forward.
Yeah, no, I think that you have reached a point where it's probably from a result of you being a workaholic in the beginning. You've explored so many ways to create what you create that it's all combined together into this just kind of toolbox that you pull out when you need it. So it really is your voice and your style and a clear direction of your work, which is what every artist hopes for, right?
Yeah. I'm still searching. I've never, I'm changing. I adapt all the time of my own work. If going this way or the other way. But yeah, that's being an artist, and that's
But thank you so much, Vicky. This was great. I mean, it's wonderful to know another artist for several years now and just watch you continue to grow, and your work is so inspiring. So thank you so much for giving me the time.
Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure. Was great, Daniel.
Good, good. And you got to practice your English this whole time, which was fantastic. You did great.
I'm stuck with my English. As I told you before we came into live, I hadn't spoke much English in the last 3 months, so it's kind of locked on my brain right now.
Well, you did well.
I did my best.
Yes. So for everyone else, if you are still there, Vicky, you can find her work on Instagram. It's VIGMAYOL, and that's Vicky's art Instagram. It's fantastic. It's also we shared a post on ours for it too. So take a look at her work and keep an eye out for anything that, of course, is for sale. Keep those artists happy and support those original works. And Vicky, have the best time over at the farm. Enjoy it with the kiddos and make some new work. Let me know when something else comes out of it.
Yeah, I will. Thank you, Daniel.